This is a T422 production.
If you want to talk some Simpsons, we do it with distinction. Insert brain here. With Springfield in our vision, our spirit is embiggened. Insert brain here. Flanders, Quimby, Otto, Man, the Hassa, Beam, a pedal on. Insert brain here. We've got Simpsons to ponder. Here comes David and Connor. Insert brain here.
Welcome back to Insert Brain Here, a Simpsons podcast. I'm your host, David, and with me as always is my co-host, Connor.
Hello there.
There we go.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 17, Old Money. The original air date is 14th of March, 1991.
That's correct, yes.
So, Connor, take it away with a nice, crisp, short recap of Old Money.
Well, David, in Old Money, we open up with the family, the Simpsons family, that is, dropping Abe Simpson, Grandpa Simpson, off at the nursing home after another successful monthly visit to the, what's it called?
Is it a corner shop or something?
Yeah. We call them like
Yeah.
corner shops here.
Yeah.
The
liquor store.
Liquor store, that's what he
That's
says.
it.
Where he's got his monthly beef jerky. And he goes back
Yeah.
into the crumbling, disgusting old folks' home.
Yeah.
And shoves it in the drawer with his other beef jerky.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting his pills the next day, and he bumps into a woman named B,
Yep.
and he becomes quite
B. Simmons or something?
B Simmons, because that's how they meet, because their medicine's mixed up, because he's
Yeah.
Simpsons and he's Simpson and she's Simmons.
Yeah.
And he falls in love with this woman, and they're going on dates, and they're having a grand time.
Erotically eating
Pills.
pills.
Oh, it's a disgusting scene.
Yeah.
And her birthday's coming up, so he gets her a nice shawl, I think it is.
Yeah, like a wool shawl or something.
He almost gets her Napoleon's hat for $400, but
Yeah.
he decides to get a shawl instead.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But on the night of her birthday, Homer comes and whisks Abe away, despite his protesting to see lions.
Yeah.
And because Homer drives into the wrong area of the safari park, they have lions all over their car. They're there until the next morning.
Yeah. Stuck in the mud. Yep.
Stuck in the mud with lions all over them. And when they get back to the old folks' home, B is dead.
Yeah.
And after her funeral and Abe having a big fight with Homer and falling out with him for making him miss her last moments, he gets a call from Lionel Hutz, who says, Abe Simpson, B died a wealthy-ish woman, and you've inherited $106,000.
To do whatever you want with it.
Make
basically.
yourself happy, basically.
Yeah.
Spread joy and happiness. And he's like, all right, I'll do that. So he tries spreading happiness in himself. He goes to see some women do some mud wrestling. He buys Napoleon's hat.
Yeah.
He rides a roller coaster, and he's like, this is all right, but I miss B. And then B appears to him as a ghost, and she's like, well, if this isn't working, spread joy amongst other people, you know?
Yeah, give the money away to people that you actually think deserve it.
Yeah, and also speak to your son again.
Yes, yeah.
So he goes to visit Homer, and he's like, I've decided I'm going to help whoever needs my help. I'm going to hold auditions, basically, where people come to me and they pitch what they need help with.
Yeah.
And I decide if they get the money or not.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of unsuccessful pitches from Otto, Mr. Burns, Professor Frink, Moe, Bart. And then Lisa comes to him and says, the people who really need your money are the less fortunate. So Abe goes on a wee trip to the darker side of Springfield, the worst side of town.
Yeah.
Sees the public library crumbling, sees homeless people and
Boarded up and crumbling.
boarded up and crumbling. There's homeless people, there's burning barrels in the streets. It looks like Robocop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like all poverty-stricken areas,
Yeah.
it looks like Robocop.
Yeah.
And he goes back to the old folks' home to speak to Jasper, and he's like, well, I want to help people who are in need, but in reality I don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Jasper tells him, well, go gambling. Gamble your money, and you can probably double it or even triple it.
Yeah.
There's an old folks' home's going on the trip to a local casino that's just outside of town.
Yeah. Just
Go-
outside the county lines.
That's the one. Go and do that. He says, you know what, I will. Homer rocks up to try and see Abe again, finds out where he is and chases after him. Stops him before he puts all of his money onto one number, which wouldn't have...
36, I think about it.
36.
Yeah.
Because that's the highest number that it goes to.
Yeah.
I don't know much about gambling.
Me neither.
I'm not a gambler.
I think it's... Was it Roulette he was playing.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
I don't even own Casino Royale on DVD.
I do, I think.
Gambling, man.
I know.
I don't even buy a lottery ticket.
I do, occasionally.
I bought a lottery ticket once, the first time I was of age to buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
I didn't win, and I went, what a bunch of shite.
Yeah.
Fuck would I do this for?
I
Pay money
my
to...
first lottery ticket, I won a tenner.
Oh, see, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
No, I won nothing, and I went, why bother?
I won nothing since. I think I won a $5 about a week ago.
Nice.
And I spent a $5 on 2 tickets.
So you've made nothing.
Yeah.
Very good. So after that, Homer's like, what are you going to do with your money now that I've saved you from wasting it at a casino?
Yeah.
And he looks at the other people with his old folks home who are getting back on the bus, and he looks down at his wrinkly old man hands.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides he's going to spend it to spruce up the old folks home that he lives in. It's like a horrible shithole, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
It's miserable. There's water leaking from the ceiling, and just
Yeah,
terrible.
it's just, falling apart building.
They get nice chairs,
Yeah.
a new paint job. They get
Some repair work on like windows and stuff that were broken as well.
a new dining room that's
Yeah.
has a plaque on the door that's named after B. And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
It's a nice ending.
It is a very nice ending. Nice episode.
Yeah, that was a nice tight recap as well.
It was. It was.
Anyone
Good.
who's listened to last week's episode knows what a shit show a recap can be.
I think it was the worst recap I've ever done.
Yeah, I think it's the worst
Yeah.
recap anyone's ever done of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We made podcast history with
We did.
how bad
How
we were.
shit it was.
We're the Catwoman the movie of podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, we might be. Except we don't have any hot people to sort of...
We don't even have Halle Berry.
We don't.
Not
we
yet,
don't.
anyway.
I don't know. Not ever, maybe.
You don't want
More
Halle
active.
Berry to come in and record
I
a
have
podcast
no problems
with
with,
us?
Halle Berry rocking up to a podcast. and
Well, that would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Sitting...
Talk about The Simpsons. I even know if she's been in The Simpsons. I can't
I
recall.
don't know either, actually. That would be great, but I highly, highly doubt it's going to ever happen. So, moving on to...
Are we going straight into...
we'll do Ion Springfield, I suppose.
You want to do Ion Springfield?
Yeah, straight into Ion Springfield.
All right, here
Fuck
we go. First appearance of...
Wait, no.
What are you talking about?
That's not how we get straight into...
You're saying I haven't introed. I haven't said Ion Springfield is a segment of the show.
And
We
done
cover
your
characters who've
musical
made-
number.
Musical number?
Yeah.
You're mistaken. You've mistaken me for someone else.
No, I'm not.
Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
There we go. I panicked for a minute.
Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's tradition that I catch you off guard with the theme for Ion Springfield.
Very good. It's going to get
So I had
harder and
to-
harder, I
I
think.
had to run you in circles there.
You're going to have to gaslight me like nothing else next time.
This is Ion Springfield,
Yeah.
the segment of the show where we cover characters who made their first appearance in this episode of the show.
Yes.
David, first appearance of Beatrice Simmons.
That would be Grandpa Simpson's love interest.
That's the very same, yes.
Yes. The £106,000 widower.
That's the one. David, first appearance of Retirement Castle Administrator.
I'm guessing that's the Retirement Castle administrator.
Yes, what role does he have in the episode?
He's the administrator.
No, what scene is he in?
He's the guy with the big fucking rumple for a neck and the blue hair.
Looks like he should be in Willow and the Toad. What's that? show?
yeah.
What's that called?
The Wind in the Willows.
The Wind in the Willows, that's it.
Yeah.
Looks like Toad from Wind in the Willows.
He does.
Comes after...
Wanting all the money, basically. Wanting Grandpa Simpson to give him the money so that he can get a rub down. Or a different kind of rub down.
That's the one, David.
Yeah.
First appearance of Plato.
Yes, Plato, the guy pretending to be Plato at the gambling casino, the Greek gambling casino.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First appearance of Professor Frink.
That's the guy with the death ray thing,
Yep.
isn't it?
Classic Simpsons character, Professor
the warm
Frink.
ray, which hopefully will be a death ray that can take out New York.
Yeah,
apparently.
It's interesting to see him here where he's more of a mad scientist character.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one of our first appearance characters this episode who becomes a frequent recurring character.
Yeah.
He's in the show a lot going forward, especially
Yes.
in later seasons.
Yeah.
That's the end of Eye on Springfield.
Is that it?
You got 100% correct.
That's rare.
Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Very good.
So, David, what did you think of this episode of The Simpsons?
That was pretty good.
Yes, son of a gun.
Every fucking time.
Pulled
No,
the rug out from under me once again.
by saying the same thing at the same point in the same way.
Every time I ask what you thought about
goddamn
this
time.
episode.
No, I really did actually like this episode. It was a very sweet episode. I thought there was a bit of odd shots in this episode.
Aye. In America, they call the sweetness schmaltz.
I did not know that.
That's what they refer to, like sweetness in like their sitcoms and their
Right.
TV shows and their writing.
Fair
They
enough.
call it schmaltz.
Is that because Jewish people own a lot of movie stuff?
Get a load of Mel Gibson over here.
No. I'm just asking because it sounds very Jewish.
Man, the anti-Semitism in this room.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No,
Let's-
David, it's not because of
Let's
that.
not. That was a genuine
What
question.
a terrible
'cause-
thing to say. Is that
'cause
because
that's the-
Jews
that's
own
like-
all of Hollywood, he says to
Fucking
me?
Jesus. No,
Fucking
I'm
hell.
asking that as genuinely because
How's
like,
Lethal Weapon 5 coming along?
Fucking Jesus. Like there's other very similar sort of words that are quite common in America that are very much Jewish.
I'm aghast right now. My jaw is hanging open. I can't believe you would even insinuate that Jewish people
Exist? What?
work in Hollywood.
Fucking hell.
It's a
You can barely even
disgusting
keep
claim.
a fucking straight face saying that one.
What a terrible, terrible claim, David.
Mm.
In this episode, David, what
Yeah.
did you think of Beatrice Simmons?
I thought she definitely looked very much like a horny old woman. Based on some of those shots, those horrific shots.
I thought she looked like Littlefoot from The Land Before Time.
She did.
That's the second I saw her, that's what I thought, but I thought save it for the
Yeah.
podcast.
I liked some of the details of the sort of like the wrinkles on the arms and stuff when you saw like her forearm, and you saw a bit of her ankle at one point.
Oh, it occurred to me
and
the
that was
last
wrinkly
time
and
we
stuff.
saw Abe Simpson, right, was in the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou episode.
Mhm.
And they didn't bother to do any of that detailing.
No,
and
they
it looked
didn't.
bad.
Yeah.
He had the same arms as like Homer. They were quite
Yeah.
like young from basically the neck down. Like
Yeah,
like a
pretty much.
young person wearing prosthetic makeup of an old person's
Yeah,
face,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they
Took the time to do the extra lines and whatever on the drawings.
and I love that scene where, speaking
Oh.
of that, he looks at his
Yeah,
hands
yeah.
and you see just how wrinkled and old his
Yeah,
hands are.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a really great piece of animation.
Yes, it is.
And a very like sweet moment as well.
Yeah, it is.
Because I don't think there's a way you could have done this episode where the second he gets the money,
Mm-hmm.
you as an audience member think, well, use it on the retirement home, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think the way they eke out the story,
Yeah.
you go along with Abe.
Yeah.
You're on the journey with the character rather than being like, right, come on, get to the realization that we all know you're going to have.
Yeah.
I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, it was. It
Very
was
well
really
done.
nice. But yeah, I like a good sweet episode
Mm.
in The Simpsons.
I think it's maybe something they don't do enough now. I
don't think so.
maybe back in the day they did too many.
Maybe I probably did, but
I think this is Abe's first, I don't know if you would call it a spotlight episode because he's like a main character, but
Yeah.
he's never really been at the centre of a story before.
no, I don't think he has. So yeah, this would be, I guess, his first. I mean, you do kind of find out a bit more about him. The fact that
You get more of him, but it's like how Patty and Selma had been in previous episodes, but
Mhm.
Principal Charming was their first
Spotlight.
major appearance.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It was a spotlight for Skinner because he's not a main character, but it was like you got a lot more of their characters than you had them before.
Yeah.
You're actually spending time with them in the story.
Yeah.
They're not
I
just
think,
there for one scene or as a throwaway gag or as a launching point for
for something else, yeah. No, I think you're right on that one. I think this is the first Abe episode and proper Abe episode, and I think it's really nice.
Yeah. He's one of my favourite characters.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love all the other people at the old folks' home. Jasper.
Yeah.
Old Jewish man.
Yeah.
Hans Moleman.
Yeah.
There doesn't get much to do in this episode, Hans Moleman, but he's there.
Yeah. To be fair, not very many other people actually have much to do in this episode.
No one else has the main speaking role besides Jasper.
Yeah.
And Jasper only has like one or two.
Yeah, 1 or 2 lines or something.
And they're all, it's just because he's supposed to be Abe's friend.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah.
David, do you know what it's time for?
What time is it?
3 blind mice trivia. That's the sound of 3 blind mice trivia, the segment on this show where I talk about trivia from this episode of The Simpsons, and David goes, "Really?"
Yep.
Unlike Homer, Marge, Lisa, and Maggie, who were all named after Matt Groening's father, mother, and sisters, Groening did not want the grandfather character to be named after a family member of his.
Okay.
So much so that he left the writer's room while they were deciding the name of the character. By the time he came back in, the writers had decided on the name Abe Simpson.
Okay.
Matt Groening's grandfather's name was Abraham Groening. By coincidence.
Fucking hell.
Scene.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good. That's good trivia.
Yeah, that is good trivia. Finally. When you got out.
Season 2, episode 17 marks the first piece of good trivia.
According to me, anyway.
The drug scene, the scene where Abe and B are eating the drugs that we mentioned, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Is a parody of the food scene in the movie Tom Jones. It's a 70s film.
All right. Okay.
I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't seen it.
I don't think I've seen that. I didn't even know there was one.
There we go.
It's not about Tom Jones, is it?
Unrelated to Tom Jones.
Unrelated. Good. I was hoping as much because I really don't think I'd want to see it.
I don't like Tom Jones.
And I'm not. I think he's got a good voice, but that's about as far as it goes.
I like that one where he talks about what's new, Pussycat.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
It's not unusual to be loved.
It's all right. Yeah, that one was ruined by Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, though.
Yeah.
Overplayed.
Yeah.
They had written an "I've fallen and I can't get up" joke for the episode. Mm-hmm. But by the time it came to be animated, the idea of the joke was considered overdone and hackneyed. In 1991. I know people who were making those "I've fallen and I can't get up" jokes in like 2015.
Yeah.
People are probably still making them now.
Probably.
Well, maybe not.
They're probably, if you search long and hard enough, I'm sure there's someone going,
"I've skivered a toilet and I can't res anymore."
Probably, yeah.
That's
the updated version. Yeah.
Oh. I have 360 no-scope the Rizzler.
Oh,
and I can't
come anymore.
Boing anymore.
Yeah, some shit.
Something. The commentary track for this episode mentions taking shots at the Disney Corporation with that theme park.
Yeah.
Abe goes to the theme park that's
Disneyland.
Disneyland, and it has a thing about not being affiliated with Disney.
Yeah.
An omen of things to come.
Disney had the last laugh, I think, on that
No,
one.
definitely. Well, we watched this episode on Disney Plus.
Yeah, we
I'm
did.
surprised it's still there. That joke.
I'm surprised that particular shot is still there. They could easily cut that out, but good on them for leaving it.
Maybe they're just not aware of it yet. That's what I assume. I assume that if they were...
yeah, I suppose.
The transparency for B when she appears as a ghost was created by shooting the frames twice.
Okay.
Once with B at 60%.
And once without.
Fucking let me finish the goddamn trivia, you son of a gun. I'm trying to read trivia here.
And failing, but you're getting
And
there.
you're skipping ahead and being like, once without? Once with B at 60% and then again without B at 40%. The end result causes 100% of characters like Grandpa and only 60% appearance for the spirit characters. They do the same thing with the Star Wars original trilogy. They would shoot the scenes and then they would shoot Alec Guinness.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually really clever.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of doing that, actually. I never thought about that.
I
never really had to think about it, but I never thought about that. That's actually really cool.
Speaking of Star Wars, Darth Vader and the Joker being in the lineup outside the old folks' home was inspired by the writers having gone to the cinema to see Tim Burton's Batman film in 1989.
Wow.
At the cinema, there were people dressed up as the Joker, Darth Vader, and Indiana Jones. Now, in 1989, there was Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. So fair enough.
Yeah.
The Joker is in Batman.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Darth Vader had not been in a film since 1983 and would not be in a film again until 2005.
Yeah. Aye, fair enough, I suppose. People just get excited and dress up and whatever the hell they want.
Someone dressed up as I want to say Boba Fett when I went to see Rogue One in 2016. Honestly,
that's at least slightly related.
I want to say there was someone as Boba Fett, someone as Kylo Ren, because he was new at the time, and someone as Darth Vader.
Right.
It was the midnight screening. I think it was near Christmas. It was either Christmas Eve or it was Boxing Day.
Right, yeah.
I walked to the cinema and saw the film and then walked home. It's a fucking great time. It's like a cinema packed full of eager Star Wars fans. It was wonderful.
Very good.
Marvin Monroe's design, not the design of the character, but the design of the torture chamber that he presents to Abe Simpson that he's going to torture someone in from when they're born to when they're 30.
Yeah.
Is a parody of the Skinner box.
What?
I don't know.
Like from what? What's the Skinner box? Is that like a legitimate thing, or is that from a character in a film somewhere?
Hank Azaria based the voice. the complete trivia that I have is it was a parody of the Skinner box.
I'm glad you didn't want to elaborate.
It sounds like something from Hellraiser, but it's probably a real thing.
Right.
Hank Azaria based the voice of Frank on Jerry Lewis, who's obviously the Nutty Professor.
Right, yeah.
He is seen here without his buck teeth, which he has in later episodes.
Yeah.
B. Simmons was played by Audrey Meadows, who passed away in 1996.
Okay.
She is best known, David, as playing the wife in the show The Honeymooners.
Oh, okay.
With Jackie Gleason.
Yeah. Huh, nice. Bit of face to a name.
Mm-hmm. We pointed this out as we were watching it, but the scene of Grandpa at the cafe near the end of the episode is a parody of Edward Hooper's Nighthawks.
Yeah.
The famous painting.
Yeah.
There's a version of that in my house, but it's X-Files characters.
Right, okay. I think I've seen that, yeah.
It's in my living room, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The writers and producers of the show were all big gamblers at the time. Hence, Rich Moore and Matt Groening could be seen in the casino when Grandpa makes his big speech.
Ah, right, so that's some of the characters that turned and looked on as he's making his speech about all that. There was quite a few people that turned around and so that's why I thought there was going to be more on the Ion Springfield. I thought you were going to start pulling out some absolute random no fucker characters out your ass there. I get
check
me to figure out which one's which.
I usually check into those things. I look into it because I'm very thorough.
Yeah.
But no, I couldn't find any information on them. And
Okay.
as a result, they
Very
didn't
good.
appear again, and they weren't named.
Right.
So I was like, meh.
Fair enough.
If I'd thought, maybe I would have been like,
Add in those two.
I would have been like, first appearance of Rich Moore. I wouldn't have said first appearance of Matt Groening because you're going to go,
Yeah.
I know who Matt Groening is.
Well, that's Matt Groening.
But if I went Rich Moore,
Yeah.
could have really tripped you up with that one.
You definitely would have.
And you got full marks this time.
I did.
Could have ruined it.
Could have. Could have, should have, would have.
David,
Next time.
I know what you're thinking to yourself.
What's that?
You're thinking 12 bits of trivia have been and gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking 3 Blind Mice is finished.
Oh, well, I kind of was, yeah.
You better start shaking in your boots, David, because it's the return of a famous segment. Who complained and why? A segment which exists within the segment 3 Blind Mice Trivia, in which it evolves over time.
Yeah.
Originally, it wasn't a segment, and it was, and it wasn't. It's a segment again, except it keeps changing. Last time it was just, why did someone complain? I told you the who.
Mm-hmm.
Quadrophenia was the who.
Yeah.
How many times can I do that joke? Who knows? The who knows?
They do indeed.
David, this time it's not a complaint. That's the twist on this time. It's just, why did people write in? And I'll tell you who it was as well.
Okay.
The general public.
That's why you did it.
The general
Just everyone.
people who watched the show, the general public, wrote in asking for an answer to a question.
Okay.
What did they write in, David? It impacted this episode. It wasn't about this episode, but it impacted this episode.
So, as in it impacted this episode, as in they wrote in and were asking questions.
They added something to this episode
okay.
that answered that question.
Okay.
I've really given you a lot to go with here.
You have, and I'll still fuck it up.
Usually I roundhouse kick you into the deep end of a pool
Yes.
and I watch you flail around.
Yeah.
And then I
For about
say...
40 minutes, and then we've got an episode.
And then I say... The MPCRA complained that guns were seen on the wall in the background of this shot.
Yeah.
Or something ridiculous. But no, this is quite...
Yeah. Okay. So, would it be anything to do with the fact that B. Simmons comes back as a ghost?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with B. Simmons.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. So, what else could it be related to? What seems tacked on in the episode?
You're so close to figuring it out.
I am really not. I'm stumbling in the dark, staring at a pigeon. Pigeon.
Alright, I'll give you
hell.
another clue. We mentioned it when we watched the episode.
The fuck?
Folks, I really thought he was going to get this one, but he's...
Oh, I have my moments, and most of them are senior moments.
Perfect for this episode of The Simpsons.
Very appropriate.
Get you in that retirement castle.
Yep.
I really should put this
Was
on a
it?
timer.
Yeah, you really should.
60 seconds at most.
Yeah. Get the countdown timer on, the 30-second countdown timer or something. Or is it 60 seconds? It's 60 seconds for the countdown
It is,
timer.
yeah. It's a full minute.
Yeah, it's the last 30 seconds it starts doing the full on. Yeah.
Copyright.
Yeah.
What are you going to say, David? What's this thing? I keep going to say who complained and why, but that's not the segment.
Not even it.
Really, who wrote in? Oh, why did someone write? Why did people write in? That's the name of the segment now.
Yep. Do
you want me just to tell you?
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Mate.
Jesus,
I know, it's dreadful.
People wrote in at the time to find out which actors were voicing which characters, and as a result,
fucker,
the end credits for this episode were changed to list
Right.
like Dan Castellaneta and add Homer and Abe, etc.
right,
and so forth.
right.
The different actors and the characters they played.
We did mention the fact that was a first,
It's an
and
only.
we actually were clicking through and pausing it and
Looking at all the names
and looking at all
everything,
the
Technically, it's still a part of the episode,
It
even though
is.
it's the end credits.
It is. Yeah.
And that's the end of 3 Blind Mice Trivia.
Very good. Very good.
That was a good segment. That was a
Yeah,
good.
that was a good trivia segment. That was
I
very
really
nice.
thought you were going to get that one at the end.
Oh, I was still thinking of shit in the episode, pal.
That's in the episode.
I know, but like in
You
the
admitted
main
it yourself.
chunk,
That's
did.
legally binding.
I know. I did.
I have you on
I'm
record.
meaning like
as-
in the animated parts, not just
the end
fucking
credits are
I
animated.
know they're animated, but you know what I mean.
No.
The bits where a Simpson character walks around and shit.
That happens at the end credits sometimes.
Yeah, but not in this particular end credit.
Could have done.
Could have, but it didn't.
Technically, David, at the end of the end credits, the company logo comes up and someone goes, shh. So
It's not a Simpsons character, no.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, so it is. It's the shadow of the Simpsons, isn't it?
It's the shadow of a person, but it's a Simpsons character.
Simpsons character.
That counts. Oh, I should have done that in season 1, episode 1.
First appearance.
First appearance, David, of the Shusher.
Yeah.
Very
That would
good.
have actually been pretty decent.
It would have, but I wasn't on the ball in season 1, episode 1.
No.
I'm not on the ball now in season 2, episode 17.
Nope. I'm even less so. You are very much on the ball compared to me. Okay.
You sleeping?
It's a hard life.
Mm-hmm.
Being a dog. Being a podcast dog.
Podcast dog getting
Yeah.
podcast belly rubs.
Yep.
Unhappy podcast dog. Dejected about receiving podcast belly rubs.
No, I think the fact that they didn't continue is what she's dejected about.
All right. Well, podcast dog, I have a podcast to record.
Exactly. So we've talked a bit about the fact that it was a nice sweet episode.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I had a bit of a gripe with was
Oh, David's one bit of gripe that he has. Segment of the show, David's one gripe.
you know what? You're
No
the
more
reason we
segments.
have segments.
No more segments.
You're the reason we have segments.
Because he always says, I'm like,
Because every time I just say some random shit, you go,
David's
"Oh, a
right."
segment."
what was it, 10 episodes ago you said you had one bit of animation that you actually quite liked, and that's become a recurring segment
Yes.
on this show.
Yeah.
Man. What was your one gripe, David? Or your multiple gripes?
Yeah, it's just a couple of things, really. Not really someone got fired for that blunder or anything like that. It was just more of a bit of a...
Yeah, that was a segment that we haven't done in a while. That
Yeah, we
was
haven't
popular
needed to, really.
Yeah, it was popular in season 1.
Yeah,
That
very.
was the segment where we would go through errors in the show.
Yeah, but
yeah.
we haven't really actually had any need to recently,
No.
which is good. It's good. Animation quality is going up. But one of the things that I had a bit of a gripe about was the early in seeing B. Simmons.
Yes.
You see a few, in my opinion, really unflattering face-on shots of B. There's a couple of Grandpa, but they're not terrible.
Yeah.
And they're very, very brief on Grandpa. There's one in particular of B lasts, I think, about 2 whole seconds, and that's quite a long time in animation.
Is it when she opens a pill and pours the contents of it onto her tongue? Is it that one?
No, she's actually sideways a little bit on that one. There's an ever so slight side cock to her head there.
Which one is it you're talking about?
It's when they're still standing and you see the view from inside where the staff member is with the pills.
Oh, right, yeah.
Um,
I was looking at the staff menu's clipboard,
right. Yes.
so I didn't catch that. I thought there was
Well-
going to be a joke there, but there wasn't.
No.
Oh, nothing.
I was busy. Well, I wouldn't have caught it anyway because I was busy looking at B at that point. And yeah, it's a very much. You know how they artfully did Mr. Burns with the long nose, and it looked good because it was the low angle long nose overbearing on Bart.
Yeah, quite
And
a
you
few
were like,
episodes ago.
it's a bit janky looking if it wasn't for the fact that it's from a child POV.
It was intentional.
It was intentional.
It's about the intent behind the shot rather than the
Precisely.
actual ugliness of the shot itself.
Exactly. Well, that was very much that look, but no intention for that.
David, I'm going to counter that.
Okay.
I'm going to say these shots were done intentionally to show the characters as being unattractive because they're wrinkly old people.
I would say that
think-
you don't need to do that shot
No, but I
Well-
think there was an intent there behind because you get close-up shots of her and her lazy eye and Abe.
Yeah.
And again, in the scene just after when they're doing their drugs, the pills together,
Yeah.
and Abe's like nibbling along his, and B's, as I said, emptying hers onto her tongue, and we're getting those weird angles of them again. I think it's to overemphasize how old they are.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but I still think you don't need a ridiculously long shot of her facing the camera, and she's not a Simpsons character that suits a face-on shot in the slightest.
Well, she's
There's a
never
couple
going
that
to
are
be
passable.
She's never going to be in the show again.
Oh, I know,
so
she's
you're,
dead.
You're all right there.
But I'm just saying, it's I don't know. I think that would have been, if the intent was specifically that, then it was a case of, I think it was someone who has a tendency to want these face-on shots, because every so often they come back up, and I don't know, they must actually like them. I do not largely.
I wonder if it's less liking those face-on shots and we're not being familiar with how to frame these scenes in an animation. Because
Maybe
in live action, you can shoot an actor like that
in any angle, because that's how your face normally looks.
What had been done so far with animation,
Yeah.
you look at stuff like, we've mentioned this before, but your 70s and your not big budget film animation, lower budget TV animation like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
The characters are always flat on because they're so two-dimensional.
Yeah.
That they're only seen from certain angles, and you can flip the character models and have them look in the opposite directions.
Yeah.
And have them turn their head back and forth, but they can't face onwards.
Yeah.
It's just something that they're not meant to do, and they don't need to do it.
Yeah.
But when you have something like The Simpsons, which is much more intricate and has moments like this where you couldn't shoot that really any other way.
Right.
And so when they're recreating the scene from the movie Tom Jones, they just animate it to look like the scene from the film.
Yeah.
Which leads to these awkward poses that the characters were
Never really
maybe not meant to be seen in.
Yeah. But I can appreciate that, and I thought there was like a couple of odd shots while they were recreating the Tom Jones animation segment, but I didn't think it was like anything over the top. I had no real problems with that particular bit, other than the fact that it's a fairly horrific scene. Imagining a few old people sexily in their eyes eating pills. But
Do you think they had
it's the
sex?
prior part. No, I think that's what they might have done. They might have gone and broken a hip.
No, I think
if
they
he-
had sex. I wanna
Yeah.
believe. I believe that they had sex.
Fair enough.
There's an
I think they are both
unspecified-
horny enough at that point.
It was several weeks
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's a good point. It was weeks.
between, and they're living in the same
Yes,
building.
because it really was. It was almost a full month.
It was,
Because because it's the third Saturday.
and he was written into her will.
He was written into her will. It was the third Saturday. Is the day they met, or the day after?
The day after.
The day after. So that is now the Sunday of the month prior.
So
And then the safari tour is the Saturday, the third Saturday in the next month.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a full month basically. They were together. So
they
they
had
definitely
probably
had sex.
multiple times.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine that right now. Picture it in your mind's eye.
I'm trying to figure out whether or not he's gonna like toss her tits over her shoulder or his.
Oh, Jesus.
You reckon she could swing on them if he knocks them behind the back of his neck? Get a bit of swing onto him.
His balls would get in the way. Where are they hanging?
Oh, they'll be tucked. Like if he just clenches his
Out the
cheeks,
hallway down and still in
Yeah.
Abe's room.
he could swing them up and then just clench his cheeks and hold them there out
He's
the way.
not clenching anything. mate.
Good point.
Look at this guy.
A bit of talc, squeeze them in.
Pop them in like beads. Yank them out like two anal beads.
Yes.
Imagine if anal beads had the texture and feel of raisins or prunes.
Fucking.
There's a design for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll write to Love Honey and get a sponsorship for this podcast in
Very
exchange for old man ballsack prune beads. The podcast dog is getting up and leaving. She's pissed off. She's disgusted.
We were talking about old man ball anal beads.
She's shaking her head. She's not a fan.
No, old girl.
Okay, so they definitely had sex.
Yeah.
We
definitely.
know that much. We don't know the intricacies, thankfully.
No,
thank God.
Christ.
Thank God. But we do know. We can speculate that did happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, I had other points I wanted to make, but I think that's really put a stopper on things. I will say the design of the old folks' home from the outside, the purple colour, that is the colour that it has consistently going forward.
It does, yeah. I
including in the game Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yes, clocked that when it got its renovation. I was like, yes, this is how I know it.
Yeah, aye.
This is how I've seen it. What was the slogan on the bottom of that fucking sign for the old folks' home?
I can't recall. The Retirement Castle is the name of the building.
That's it. Springfield Retirement Castle, where the elderly can hide from the inevitable.
That was the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well remembered, David.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know that we ever see the B dining room ever again.
No.
Or the giant TV. I think that disappears after this episode.
Probably does, yeah.
I'm sure
I think it ends up a slum again. Well,
it's not quite a slum. It's never as bad as it was here. But it's not.
But I think maybe the director of the retirement castle decides he wants a big TV in his house.
Yeah, I took it. What are they going to do, right?
Fuck all. Moan about it until they forget. A few days, maybe a few hours.
Minutes.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
All right, David. Have you got for me David's famous segment, one bit of animation that David actually quite liked?
Yes, I actually do have one.
What's your one bit of animation that you actually quite liked?
My one bit of animation I actually quite liked this episode was the zoom shot on Grandpa's hands.
That was mine as well.
I absolutely love that.
That was such a great
shot. So
shot.
Beautifully detailed, and the forefinger hand, it just...
That was the kind of shot where I feel like you could do that exact same shot and plot point in like a live action movie.
Yeah.
Like an Oscar worthy feature film, and it would play the same. And
it really sort of sets the stage for the sort of
realization
in your feels realization of you finally finished that journey with Grandpa Simpson, and he is going to in fact spend the money on the retirement home and his friends essentially at the home. Yeah, it's just a really, really nice shot. Really good bit of animation.
I like as well. This just came to me that they didn't harp too long on Homer wanting the money for himself.
I'm very glad.
It was a very brief kind of. He didn't want him to waste the money gambling. Yeah. But he also the idea of him wanting the money for himself was briefly brushed over at dinner.
Yeah. It was almost like a case of just like, I'll take it, I suppose.
If it was offered to him, he would take it, but he's not going to try and...
Yeah, he's not going to try and pry it out of his hands or anything, which is nice.
I think there's a thing of later seasons would have Homer really trying to get that money for himself.
Doggedly trying to get it.
They'd set up a thing in the first act where Homer wants like a golden gorilla statue or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'm glad they did it the way they did, because it worked out like a very nice, overall wholesome thing.
Oh, there we go. I think that's today's episode.
Yeah, I think
this week's episode, rather.
Yeah. This week's episode. Yeah.
We're not doing daily episodes just yet.
Thank Christ. You can barely keep up with the weekly episodes.
Yes. Take us away.
All right. This has been Insert Brain here, a Simpsons podcast. I'm your host, David, and with me as always has been your co-host, my co-host, fucking hell.
That was me, Connor, here.
Yeah, here,
for the last time.
Everywhere. Christ almighty.
Social medias, David, what are they?
You can follow us on Twitter at T422.
That's right, yep.
And Instagram at Insert Brain Here Pod.
Yep, that's correct.
And check out our website, insertbrainhere.podcastpage.io.
That's the one.
Holy shit.
Don't forget to check out the podcast on YouTube as well.
Yes, check it out on YouTube.
If you're watching this
give
on
us
YouTube,
a follow,
subscribe,
yep.
ding the little bell icon.
The wee notifications bell.
If you're listening to this on a Spotify or an Apple or whatever, rate the podcast 5 stars.
Yep.
This has been a T for 22 production.
Very good.
Smell you later. Tatty bye.
That's good.
Wrinkly old man tatties.
Yeah. Wrinkly old man anal bead balls. Anal ball beads. Ball anal beads? Anal ball beads.
Bally beady asshole
would it be
punchers.
It would be wrinkly old man balls. Anal beads.
How fast do you reckon you could rip those out of his asshole? If you did, what would
real
happen?
fucking fast. But then you might, because it'll be swung round and connected. They'd
fly
smack
back.
her around and she would end up with her mouth.
They'd fly back and they'd hit a wall behind you and they would go through the drywall. If you're in America, their walls are made out of paper mache.
Yeah. You reckon Jasper would be sitting there like using them like a fucking spin punch bag?
I think they would land in his beard and get lost. That's all from us. Good night.
Good night.